All right, everyone, and welcome to the Angular Coding Q&A live stream, but really the place where Jeremy Elbourn, our magnificent supreme TL, gets to just show us cool stuff in code and answer your questions. And then I get to be charming and tell jokes and just have a good time with the community. I love it. I love it. Jeremy, how are you doing?
I am well. It's been busy times lately. Doing a lot of work.
So
Got some
busy.
interesting things that we're working on. People are excited about.
Yeah, that's true. We do have a lot of interesting things that I so want to spill the beans. I just want to take the beans in this bowl. I just want to spill them, just right, just spill the beans. But I'm not going to spill the beans just yet because we do have some really exciting and interesting projects we think that the developers will really benefit from and enjoy. But I don't want to overhype it. Just stay tuned for more information. I'll just say that. Is that fair, Jeremy? Am I not overhyping it for once
Yeah.
in my life?
I mean, there's some stuff that people know is coming, like signal forms.
So I shouldn't tell them about the cool demos I recently saw.
It's up to you.
I mean, I'm not gonna tell anybody about the really cool demos I sat in recently, and just some of the really cool stuff that we've been talking about and doing. So, um, I don't know, It's cool, but I don't want to overhype because I do know that developer expectations and reality, all that stuff is really important. So we want to make sure that we're not, you know, setting expectations that we can't meet the bar. But I do think what we're gonna show eventually is gonna be great. Let's see, we got people in the building. Got Patrick, what's going on? Lars, what's up? Okay, we got Think, Create, Share, Grow. Oh, look, let's go. Think, Create, Share, Grow. Love that. Super excited to have you. Young Michael Small in the building. What's up, Michael Small? Joe, what up? What up? What up? What up? What up? Let's see who Gabriel. You always show up. You're another one of the people who show up and you're in the building. We appreciate you. Thank you for always showing up. Patrick, you are as well. Oh, Jérôme, bonjour. Bonjour. Okay, my French is improving, and I'm gonna tell you why. I've been playing a game called Clair Obscure Expedition 33 non-stop for the last 2.5 weeks. And it's incredible. Jeremy, this game is
Yeah.
from a different planet.
I mean, it is my game of the year. I loved it. One of my favorite games of all time now.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have a little pantheon of games that are herald as some of my favorites of all time, right? Like I have a few games that land in that category. And God of War, the original trilogy and the new two parts land in that my favorite experiences of all time, something that really transformed my opinion about video games. Uncharted lands in that category. The Last of Us lands in that category. Metal Gear Solid, especially Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty. Like those are kind of like my top 5 experiences where I still think about them. This has made
Uncharted
it
is an
into
interesting one because I know it's super popular and people love it. I've tried playing the first one, I tried playing the second one, and it just didn't really click with me.
interesting because the second one to me is a masterpiece of just design and fun. So it's so interesting that wasn't it didn't resonate with you, but that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of games where like if the primary verb of the game is shooting a gun, I find it boring.
Okay. Okay. The only problem I ever had with that game, to be honest with you, was that after because unalive hundreds of humans in the game, but you're not a police officer or military figure or somebody with the agency and authority to do so. So there's the one hitch for me is that who gives him the right, what I'm saying, to kill 200 people in a series of a campaign. But anyway, let's talk about the stuff that people really want to talk about. Wait, what? What does
Yeah,
this mean?
the sequel to Hollow Knight. And yes, you are right. In fact, I was an original Kickstarter backer of Hollow Knight.
Let's go. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. All right, let's keep going. What's up, Tayamba? Accidentally on time. Hey, that happens. We appreciate you. And Joe, I'll tell you, uh, funny thing says, and I promise we'll get to coding. We'll do all this stuff. Funny thing was the other day I was on Blue Sky talking about fighting a higher level boss, and I told Jeremy that I was like dodging. He's like, "That's because you should have been parrying or something like that." So that's pretty good. I followed his advice. I ended up defeating that character, but I had like 60 parries within that like campaign of fighting. So pretty good.
This is when we get signal forms before GTA 6. Well, I can't speak to when GTA 6 is going to come out, but I hope so.
I mean, man, let's go. I mean, okay, so let's talk about some real questions here. All
Yeah.
right. Let's see. Is part of Angular team's strategic direction to build a framework without relying on external libraries such as NGRX? Oh, good. That's actually a good kickoff question.
So, there is a very broad scope to the problem space of web development. And, Angular itself is never going to be solving the entire problem space of web development for you with no additional libraries or no, code in your app, obviously. And so there's always going to be some situations where you're going to reach for a third-party library. Maybe a good example here is like charting and data visualization. Probably not something the Angular team is ever going to do, and you would want to reach for a third-party library. Now, on the specific question of something like state management with NGRX, we don't have any immediate plans on doing state management and having kind of a first-party solution for that, aside from the signal primitives themselves. But it's not something I would rule out. It's something that we might consider in the future, or if we're kind of doing any sort of big reimagining of what state management in Angular might look like. Maybe that's something we would consider, but right now it's not something that's on our radar.
All right, back on the radar. Okay, I had to fix my camera angle because watching my head be like partially clipped was just driving me up the wall. So, okay, so that's pretty good. People really want this answer, Jeremy. Can you please answer this? Because we get somebody comes in to ask this question literally every stream.
So it's in CDK experimental, and it never really got promoted to stable because I think there were still some bugs with it that never really got worked out, and other things just became a priority. The best I can say is go vote on the GitHub issue, and maybe I'll mention it to someone on the team to see if it's worth revisiting, because we do have this feature in CDK experimental. It's hard to get right. And it's hard to do it in a performant way and give people advice on like the right way to do it for accessibility. Although I guess dynamic height and fixed height are not really a different story for accessibility, so that's not a concern.
Okay, excellent. Okay, let me see what this does. Show scene. I don't know what that is. I'm
What are you
using
doing,
the
Mark?
UI for this streaming thing, and I'm trying to like not do this. All right, this next question, I actually like it because it's a good segue to what we're just gonna do today. The animations PR. This deprecates the animations package in favor of using animate.enter and animate.leave with intent to remove the full package in V22.2. Can you clarify the specifics on remove? Jeremy, you want to spend some time showing off some of the new animations details. So let's use this as a good segue to get started with that.
Yeah, and so remove maybe isn't the best word here. It's more that like at that point we would no longer be publishing the Angular animation package, like new versions of it, and probably just like delete that directory out of the main branch. But yeah, like hopefully people have seen the RFC for the new animations APIs that Jessica put out there, and also like give much credit to Jessica for driving this and building the new animation APIs and working towards having a kind of more modern take on animations in Angular now that we are in the year 2025. The original animation library was written way back in 2016 and just trying to solve some problems that were problems back then, but since that time, CSS has evolved quite a lot. We have view transitions now and other CSS features that have evolved over the years. We're really in kind of a golden age of CSS. And really the hooks that the framework needs to give you for animations are much smaller than they used to be. And so we can jump into trying this out.
Yeah, let's try it out.
Yeah, we don't have signal forms to show off yet. I see a question here. So not yet for signal forms. They're still
Wait. Go ahead,
Still being
continue.
worked on.
Hold on. I feel this is a personal, not attack, but as a personal call out. So no guitar playing and no signal for. You know what, Jeremy? Go ahead and get set up. I'm gonna do
I'm
something.
I'm already set up. So
All right.
I'm gonna go ahead and share my whole screen because it's too hard to just do the IDE.
Yeah, share your whole screen when you're ready. And then while you're doing that, I'm gonna go and find a guitar and I'm gonna find out how to play it on stream today.
So Mark's gonna go get a guitar. So I'm just gonna get my demo serving right here. So I'm just gonna ng serve. And then in a minute, we'll have our local host here. And this is just going to say animation demo in a second once my ng serve gets going. Although maybe my terminal's frozen.
Okay, so while you're doing that, I want to answer this question. You know what? We really try not to let things like linger for this long. So can you do something? Tag at Mark Texan on your GitHub issue. Just comment on it on your PR. Tag me, and I'll have a look. Because we appreciate contributions, and sometimes things do get like lost in the storm. Just tag me. I'll have a look.
So I got a brand new Angular CLI project here.
Should I add you on?
What was that, Mark?
Should we add your screen to the stream?
Oh yeah, go ahead and add my screen to the show.
There you go.
And so this is a completely blank, empty Angular app with Angular CLI, and I have installed, I can peek into our package.json here, and you can see I'm using 20.2 Next. I don't know if Next 0 is actually high enough of a version. Let's go take a look real quick. Angular core npm. So we want whatever the latest Next version is. Make sure we got that. Oh yeah, so we want Next 3. So let's make sure we're updated for that. So I realize I can just do a quick replace here. There we go. And now we're gonna come over here, kill our server, just reinstall. I should have done that earlier. I thought I had the right version installed. But what we're going to do is try out some of these new APIs. And so there are 2 APIs we're going to look at. And if you want to see the documentation for them, you can peek at them before they're actually out by going to next.angular.dev and see our kind of pre-release version of our documentation. You can go over here to animations, and you can see we have this new little marker here for enter and leave animations. And so we're going to be excuse me, taking a look at these enter and leave animations here, and we'll see how sophisticated we can get. I'm not much of a designer, and so I don't know how pretty I'm going to be able to make anything. But we'll at least play around with the APIs and see how we can get something showing. All right, now let's ng serve here. And we should have our updated web server. Cool. So we got this. And let's go ahead and animate something. So I'm going to add a button here, Mark. And I'm just going to say this is like show something. And we're going to add a click handler here. And we're going to say, let's open up our code as well here. I'll make this bigger in 1 second. So thanks to the person on stream last week who told me how to do zoom in WebStorm. So it zooms everything. Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and just put, let's say, show something is false here. And then we're going to pop back to our template. And we're going to say show something equals not show something. We're just going to toggle that. And then we're going to have an if here. for show something. And then I'm just going to put a div here, and I'm going to just call this big box. So again, not a designer. This is not going to be super pretty, but let's go ahead and add some animation or some styles for big box. So we're just going to say this is height 5em, width 5em, background Rebecca purple. And so now there's no animations here. I'm just going to come over here. I'm going to show that. And yep, we just toggle a big purple box. I want it to be bigger though. Let's make it 15 and 15. And that's fine. Yeah, we're just toggling this purple box. And so now let's go ahead and add an animation. And so we can do that by on this div using our brand new, we'll say like animation, or no, animate.enter. And let's start off by just adding a CSS class. And so let's call this fade in. Let's see if I actually remember how to do a fade in animation. And so I'm gonna add fade in. And then here, let's actually, it's been a long time since I've written a fade in animation. And so I'm going to go ahead and use Gemini Code Assist here. I'm going to clear this because this is still the chat history from a previous project. And so I'm going to add, I've got the context of my current file, which is what I want. And so I'm just going to say add a CSS fade in animation to the fade in rule in this file. Sorry for coughing. I just got over a cold not too long ago. All right, so it decided to use a keyframe animation here. I'll go ahead and take that. And so, yeah, we got this nice keyframe here for fade in from opacity 0 to opacity 1. And we got our ease in out, just what I wanted. Cool. So hide that. And now we can go hit the show something button and we'll see we got a nice fade in animation. And so what's happening here is that when this element enters the DOM, thus this little enter here, it's going to add this fade in class, and it's going to automatically remove this class once that animation is complete by looking at the animation end event. And so if I inspect this element right now, you'll see it does not have the fade in class on it. It just has big box. And if I I don't know if I can do this fast enough, but yep, I just barely caught it with the fade in animation. And so just for demonstration sakes, I'm going to change this to a 10-second duration. And so now I can hit show something. Oh, no. It's fading in. I can see like it has this fade in class here. We'll zoom that in. Oop, I zoomed too far. Oh, I zoomed too far. There we go. All right, let's do it again. So I'll show it, inspect it, and you can see it has this fade in CSS class here, and it's currently fading in. And once it finishes, this class will disappear because Angular removes it automatically for you. Cool. And so that's our fade in. How is that, Mark?
Good.
I feel like I was talking for a while without any commentary from you. So
no, you're fine. I literally left to go and start assembling a rig to satisfy the people.
Okay, you're going to play some guitar.
I am at some point, but this is more important because this is my job, not playing guitar. But can you zoom in just a bit on your code side? Because it looks like some people are still saying the code's a little too small.
Okay, I can go up to 175.
That's better, actually. That's fine. Does animate.enter use starting style under the hood? Good question.
I don't know what you mean by starting style.
Have you seen this before at starting style?
Oh, at starting style. This one is not, right? This one is just using a keyframe animation. So What Angular is doing is when, like, Angular knows when DOM elements are added or removed because it's the one adding and removing them. And so when this if condition turns true, Angular knows this div is being added. It knows it's got this animate on it. And so it adds this CSS class and then removes it by listening for the animation end of it. I
Could
think
you refresh the screen, Jeremy?
what's that?
Could you refresh your demo?
I can. Is it not showing up on the?
No, it is. I remember. So one of the versions when you were still working on it, it looked like the animation was starting on its own before the event. So I was just trying to see if that was actually happening.
Oh, it's probably just because the animation was so long. I changed it back to 1 second now, and so now it's more obvious. So now let's go ahead and add a fade out animation as well. And so we can do that by doing, similarly, we can do animate.leave, I think. I'll double check the documentation. Yep, it's leave, not exit. And let's just say fade out.
That's too simple. You should have did spiral out.
Well, we can get more
explode.
complicated if you want after
Yeah, that's
this.
what I
Let's
want.
start
I
off with
want
something simple.
I want spiral out and explode at the end.
And so I'm just going to copy this fade in animation and change it to out. And we're going to go from opacity 1 to opacity 0. Duplicate this fade in to out and change that to out. All right. And so now if that works, on enter, this should fade in, and on leave, it should fade out. So enter, there's our fade in, leave, fades out.
Nice.
And that's pretty simple. And this animate.leave is a big part of what the framework is actually doing for you here, because otherwise you don't have a good way of deferring the removal of an element until its animation has complete. And so this gives you a way to kind of get that nice and easily. I know a couple of us on Angular have gone to people in the CSS working group and requested some sort of API to animate something when it's removed from the DOM, and haven't really gotten much traction there. It would be pretty complicated in the browser to do this because you actually have to keep the DOM element around even though it has been kind of removed. And so it's not super straightforward to implement even in the browser. So it's perhaps a big request. And so this is why the framework is doing it for you. Now, Mark, you said you want some like fancy rotation here.
Okay, before we do that, we got a couple of actually on the task questions.
Okay.
That are not as chaotic as my request. So Joe says, when we use an animation function, if we don't call complete after 4 seconds, it will be completed automatically. Is there any way we can increase the time?
I'm not sure if that is something that can be changed. I'm going to show this off in a little bit because right now I'm just using CSS classes, but you can also use a function for these as well. And so I was going to show that off in a little bit.
Okay, keep on then.
But yeah, the gist of it is that if you give a function here, for animate leave, you need to indicate in that function when your animation is complete so that Angular knows it can now safely remove this DOM element. And if you don't give that indication, Angular is going to be like, well, your animation probably doesn't take longer than 4 seconds. And so after 4 seconds, it removes it from the DOM. I'm not aware of there being a way to change that, although that is a perfectly valid feature request if you want to go file that on GitHub and vote on it if maybe someone has already filed it.
All right, another question. Just for this demo, can we add some text after the if block, so that way we can see, the text? Sorry, the UI shift. That's a good thing because I think it'll help us to really visualize.
We do that. So we can put a paragraph here. It's like, here is some text after the animated block.
Right. Yep. Let's do that.
And so you can see that text shift there. You can always kind of mitigate that shifting. I'm not going to keep this, but like if I put a div here, that's just, height, this is like 15 EM maybe? I forget exactly what I put. But if I do something like that, then I can avoid that layout shift if I leave space for it. But every UI is different. It's going to be up to the app to decide what makes sense.
Yeah.
To
I
do
think
that.
this was more about just to see the timing and to see when it completely was removed from the element, to just really get an idea that we're not doing like
Just
some
have like
like
a little HR there.
weird stuff. You know what I mean? So that helps. That definitely helps. Here's another question. People are loving this demo, Jeremy. Great work. Yeah, right. That's what I thought. Evgeny, was that this shifting here is a debug element. I just see how it works. Right. I think he was more interested in how does it work overall versus like how to prevent it so much. It's just like, oh, how does this thing work?
Yep.
Somebody said, can you demo starting fade out before animate enter ends? Okay, so like start it and then like click quickly, pretty much.
Oh yeah, I'd like to do it real quick. Oh, that's weird.
Looks like we got to file a bug.
I think I know what's happening there. It's also worth mentioning this is a pre-release feature.
Yeah.
This is currently in the next release, but it is not yet in stable.
It's an
So
early look.
yeah, so this is interesting. What I think is happening here is that I'm gonna hide this. So if I do press it twice really quick, you'll see multiple. Yeah, actually, it's like we a whole bunch of them. It's doing the animation out, and it's like the if is turning false, which means it starts the leave animation, and so it starts it animating and then it removes it when it's done for a duration of 1 second. But it also turns true, so it creates an element and starts that animating in. So both of them exist temporarily, and so that's maybe I would consider that a bug, and we should make it so that if an element comes in, then it should kind of have some association with the element that was there already and kind of override that state. But
yeah, I think it's worth surfacing that because what you're showing with the on click or the user event displaying of links, I mean, that's so common that it's worth us thinking about how to mitigate the impact of that. Jeremy, I got a couple of philosophical questions before we jump out here.
yeah, what do you got?
Let's see. Hold on. First, Rajiv, you are not here. There are lots of people watching on different platforms, so don't worry. You're not the only person here. There are people. We have a lot of audience on YouTube, so we're streaming across different platforms. But thank you for hanging out on X and giving us some love there. Someone asked about, and I don't want to ignore this question. It's a good question. Hi guys, Angular is the GOAT, the greatest of all time, and I'm excited with each update. But watching Google I/O and the Firebase YouTube streams, I can see an uncomfortable amount of Next.js for those demos. Like, what's going on?
Okay, hold on 1 second. 1 second. I'm just going to mute myself real quick.
Yeah, take it down. Oh yeah, don't worry, friends. He'll be right back to answer the chime in on this question.
Sorry, go ahead. Mark, could you say what you were saying again?
Oh, okay. So this comment was that, hey guys, Angular is the go, and I'm excited with each release. But I've been noticing that from like Firebase and even at Google I/O that there were a lot of Next.js demos. Like, what's going on?
And Google is a big company, and there's lots of different, there's folks in Chrome, DevRel in Chrome, and we're here over in the Angular team. And the Chrome organization, is very, they care very much about not having like preference towards any one, framework or technology, even if that thing is also in Google. And so they will try to make sure they're doing demos with everything that developers are using, such as Next, React, Vue, whatever else. And so Next is very popular, and so it makes sense for them to do demos with that.
Yeah, very cool. And there are Firebase demos with Angular. Like I was actually going to show off some Firebase vibe coding during this session, but Jeremy was like, "No, I really want to show this animation." I was like, "Yes, it's a good idea." But there's Angular support all across, and then we're all good. Let's see what else. Are there any more questions? Let's see. Jeremy, you want to? Well, there are a few more questions. Let's stop for a second. Somebody came in earlier, said, "Hey, how do you manage the state of components and the application?" And I would say that there are lots of libraries and tools that you can use, but we usually recommend start out with just using signals and see how far you can get. Signals in the service, in a well-designed service, see how far you can get. If you exhaust that as like your usefulness, then you can start to reach for other tools that solve this problem. But we think that signals is a great starting point.
Yeah. Like I've seen this in a few different places where people can get started with when you're starting off a new application and things are relatively simple, just having signals inside of services is a pretty decent solution. And if you get more sophisticated, solve the problems that you're actually seeing in your code base and like pick a solution that is going to work for your particular problems instead of trying to speculate about what kind of problems you might run into. Once you have some experience and you're building multiple different types of apps over time and you get a sense of like the patterns that arise based on what you're building, it's definitely always good to like start off with something that is going to work for you. But if you are unsure here, there's nothing wrong with starting simple and then evolving as your code base grows.
Yeah, I want to show something, Jeremy. Okay, so you did demo. I want to demo just for a second.
Okay, what do you got?
Let me do this real quick. I just want to demo. Let's see, but I can't show the initial part of it on screen because I got to put in an API key. And I love the Angular community, but there are people who may see the stream and steal my API key, not from the Angular community. I'm just saying somebody might see the stream because it's public. I don't want to expose my API key, so I got to do that, the setup, without you all seeing. But I want to show you something cool because I really appreciate the questions that we get around things like, oh, what's up with Firebase Studio, and then only seeing support for things like Next.js, etc. But I want to show you what you can do right now. That's really, really awesome. And I think you folks will really appreciate it. So give me a second here. Let me just set up my environment and then it'll be really cool to see. And then we can jump back into animations, but I just can't hold back. I just can't hold back, Jeremy. Okay, here, let me share this. Let me make sure because I'm just like, I want to share the right window.
Yes, don't share your API key.
Don't share my API key. Don't share my secret redacted project that I'm working on. Like all that stuff cannot be shared. No sharing. Okay, let me know, friends, if it's okay. It's there. Let's get it added to the. I'm gonna add it here. Okay, check this out. There we go. Okay, does that look right? Okay, please no API key because otherwise I have to delete it. Okay, good. Now check this out. So this is Firebase Studio in like the traditional mode. So what I did to start this new app I just made right now, what I did to start this was chose the Angular template. So one thing you folks didn't know that I was doing was I was working on some new AI rules for Firebase Studio with the Firebase Studio team to give us a new interesting experience. So I'm going to choose. Okay, well, man, this better not show. Okay, whew. All right. Because sometimes when you select that and you haven't already input your API key, it takes you to the API key page. So I was like, please don't show my API key. All right, awesome. So this prototyper, I mean, it's not the prototype, but this is just a regular mode. This is a brand new Angular app. Let me close this up. Let me just show you what cool thing you can do. So design a, give me, chat, I need your help. What kind of app you want to see? That's what I want to see. Tell me what kind of app you want me to make. And I'm going to make that because I don't want to just like cherry pick an idea. Let's see. I'm waiting for some chat. Let's see. A weather app. We could do a movie app. We could do okay. How about this? I'm going to make this even more fun. A vision board created with AI image generation and goal setting. Ooh, I like that. That's like a vision board creator with AI image generation and goal setting. There's a lot of cool stuff here. Okay, let me just see what that does. Okay, so let's see, design help me create a vision board app with AI image generation. Now, the AI image generation is going to require some like key at some point, but let's see how far we can get with this. Um, you know what I actually want to do? I want to take this and I kind of want to ask Gemini to like embellish the prompt. Have you folks tried that before where you ask Gemini for like to help a prompt? Okay, so let's see. Please help me make a prompt for to create this app. So I will ask Gemini to give me a better version of my idea so that my prompt can be better. So I'm in Gemini chat in the other window, and let's see if I can get this cooking. It's showing. Okay, come on. I should have used Flash for this, but I'm using Pro, which is fine. Uh, okay, cool. I'm going to generate. Okay, generate a concept for. I don't want a mobile app. I'll say web app, but I'll do this. Okay, it gave me a prompt. We're gonna update the prompt a little bit. So generate a concept. I don't want mobile app. I just want to say generate a web app that lets users create digital vision boards. The app's main feature should be the ability to generate images using AI based on the user's goals and descriptions. I don't even want you to do all of this part. I'm going to expect you to do it. Okay, let's run this. Now, here's the two really important things. One, I'm using Gemini 2.5 Pro, and I'm using Agent Auto Run mode, right? And so what that'll let me do is that it'll start to do things without prompting me at every single step. Okay. Cool thing is now it's going to be an Angular app, and then see, it's trying to start a new Angular app. Okay, let's see. Let's just guide it a little bit. You are already in an Angular app. Just go ahead with the plan and start with go ahead and let's see, go ahead and create a plan based on your instructions. Okay, there we go. There we go. So this would be interesting. All right, 100% standalone will replace ng modules. Okay, let's see. We got some questions here.
I'm gonna answer some questions while I'm thinking.
Yeah. Okay.
So here's one. Do we see the future standalone components replacing ng modules? Yes, actually. We are, ng modules are not deprecated, right? We're not like strictly removing support for them, but we are trying to make it so that standalone components are much more emphasized. We really want to discourage use of ng modules. If you notice in the documentation, we have moved all of the information about ng modules kind of to be, excuse me, off the critical path for a lot of our documentation. And we really consider ng modules to be something that are mostly supported for, existing code that was written before standalone was a thing, but we expect like all new code that people are developing to be oriented around standalone, and all of the new APIs and features that we're making are also oriented around standalone. Let's see. What other questions we got?
Why are you choosing a question? I want to kind of walk through what I'm doing here. So if you notice, friends, I'm not looking at any code, and it's doing a bunch of stuff. So like this experience is pretty smooth in terms of, especially compared to where we were a few like weeks ago when we showed these types of things. It's asking me to run like some shell commands, which is totally normal, right? Because it's using the Angular CLI as a part of its tool chain. And we have some other things that we're working on that hopefully we can even in the future have some of these things exposed, in different ways, in different AI accessible tooling. So really cool stuff. And then so this looks like excuse me, that looks like there's an error, but it knows to run ng build to figure out what's going on. So this is a part of the self-healing loop. So of course, this isn't like a pure prototyper experience like you see with the traditional prototype mode, but like with the updated rules that we've developed and the workflows we've developed, we've been able to create a pretty smooth experience though, right? I mean, like this is just me in the chat. I haven't looked at the code once, and there's a plan that I can look at and the blueprint that it generated that can really help us. So Pretty fire.
All right. That's an interesting choice of background here.
I don't. I think that it thought it was creative. Um,
Uh, like a CRT TV that doesn't have any signal.
Yo, okay, but can you see that? Like, look at all that. I didn't touch it. I mean, I didn't get involved with any of that, but I do not like this background. The background image is a little distracting. Let's make it a beautiful, or let's say, let's update the UI to be beautiful and beautiful. How you spell beautiful? B-A.
BEA, beautiful.
There you go, beautiful. Beautiful modern UI.
Thanks for the film, Bruce Almighty, for sticking that in my memory forever.
You know what? I know how to spell champagne because of something like that. It's like I'm a champ. It's all good anyways. It's like, and that's how I know how to spell champagne without a
I
problem.
just remember Champagne.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay, see, look at that. Bye bye. Ooh, it's getting prettier and prettier. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten some pretty good results with Firebase Studio too.
Yeah. And this is you know, one of the things that influenced this output. Wow. Okay. I mean, again, this is what you can do right now with Firebase Studio, and just in the regular promo, if you choose like the Angular template from the home screen, like that's the big choice you got to make sure you make is the Angular template, and then it'll come with preloaded with a beautiful AI rules file that we worked on and developed. Like beautiful, telling you what to do, you know, telling it how to make the right choices, and then like that self-repair loop was pretty smooth, and it knows, like, again, to use the Angular tooling to like validate things, which is pretty great. But can I spell vacuum? Never. All right, cool. Oh wait, the thing gets me is light mode too bright for my eyes. I'm sorry about that. I get that some people don't like that, but let me see something real quick with this app. Can you add a light mode and dark mode toggle? Jeremy, let me tell you what I've been thinking about when it comes to like AI and software development. As like code generation becomes more prolific, I've been thinking about like, if you think about a carpenter or somebody like a woodworker, right? Like a master carpenter. And if you gave that person a tool that they could wave like a wand and they could generate any component that they needed to build something. Like, I'm like, man, I need a wall with my, 16-inch space studs right now. What could they build if that was in their hands? You know what I mean? Like, does it mean that they are not needed as a carpenter, or does it mean that the things that the master carpenter could build would be like multiplied? And that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around for myself as I think about the future of my career as an engineer, and as code gen, this becomes more and more prolific. And I'm like, yeah, if I have the ability to just be like, yeah, because I know what I need to be able to build those things with like a specificity that like creates high quality software, but saves me some time, not all the time, but sometime. I think that's like the framing I'm trying to like work on. What do you think? Do you like that, or do you not like that framing?
I like, it's hard to say, right? Like, nobody knows how this is going to really impact software development and the software development lifecycle
Sure.
over time. And anybody who tells you they know exactly what the future holds, like, they don't know what they're talking about, right? Like, they're just guessing. I am, excuse me, sorry, still like coughing a little bit from getting over this cold, but I think that, LLMs are going to continue being a part of the software development process and will become a bigger part of it. I don't imagine a world where software developers cease to exist. I know that some people are predicting that, of like, like everybody will just be able to describe what they want, and you'll like check in your prompt and the system will figure out the rest. I think maybe that's a little bit too science fiction for me. But I do think Non-developers are going to have a bigger role in the software development lifecycle. People like PMs and UX designers and anybody else will be able to do more prototyping and iteration on themselves. They'll be able to maybe make minor bug fixes and minor feature changes to code bases themselves with the use of these tools. There was an episode of the Planet Money podcast a couple of years ago that I really liked. One of the kind of ideas kind of presented there, which is that these AI-based tools, they're really good at taking a kind of a novice or a junior in any given expertise and giving them the ability to do something that's like pretty good. So maybe music is an example, right? Like I have absolutely no skill with music whatsoever. It's always been a weakness of mine. I have like a really hard time understanding music theory, or like, I have no sense of tone or, frequency or anything like that. And so if I wanted to sit down and compose some music, I'd be terrible. But if I go and use some, AI tool to generate like I want this compose the melody that's like this, that's like up tempo and exciting and has like these elements to it, I'll get something out, and it's not going to be as good as what a professional would make, but it's far better than I would have ever been able to make on my own. And so the space for the professionals is still there, right? You still need professional musicians and composers for, when you actually care about it being good. But if I want to make a little tune for my like home D&D campaign or something like that, it gives me an ability I never had before. And I think maybe we'll see a lot more of that in software development, where it empowers people to do things that they didn't have that ability before, but there's still going to be the need for experts who know how these systems work and can debug them when they go wrong and solve problems that maybe, are not in the corpus of what the LLM has been able to train on and seen before.
Yeah. Excellent.
But
Excellent.
don't take me as an authority here, right? Don't really know anything more about what the future holds than anybody else. I'm just guessing along with everyone.
Yeah, I think we're all guessing. That's why I'm saying I'm just trying to think about this, right? Like in my mind, I'm just trying to wrap my head around like what are the options and what, trying to predict not necessarily the full future, but trying to predict some like direction, right? Like to head in and hope that I'm right about it. But I think the idea of replacing engineers or engineering going away, I think that is, short-sighted. Because again, I go back to my analogy of the master carpenter with the tool that can generate any component for like the building of a building that they want at this time. And what they'll probably do in that frame is like if I were a master carpenter, I wouldn't generate a house at the same time. To be honest with you, I wouldn't. Like I would generate the parts of the house, right? Like piece by piece to create the house versus like just give me this house because I feel like I want to know what's going on in the thing. Somebody said I think designs are going to go away for sure. No, because creativity is at this point at least uniquely human, and I think what human taste you can't account for human taste like programmatically because something that we don't think is good, somebody loves it. You know what I mean? Um, like so you just can't predict your human taste. Like, so I wouldn't say designers are going away. Okay, so I got some non-broken images, but again, the thing I was trying to show with this short demo was that in Firebase Studio, if you use our Angular template, you're going to be able to have like that vibe coding experience if you want. Like I vibe coded this thing, like straight up right now. Like I didn't look at the code once. I didn't even look at the error messages. I didn't even care. Right? It was just like let the agent run and do some stuff. So try it out. Try it out. If you use Gemini 2.5 Pro, you'll probably see a little bit more consistent results. Maybe if you're using that. The built-in model, I don't know the details behind it, so I can't tell you about the built-in model. I can just tell you about the 2.5 Pro. Doing 2.5 Pro, I've had some really good experiences in building applications with it. Okay, Jeremy, let's get back to some animations.
All right, we'll go back to animations.
And then I'm going to start setting up this guitar thing, so that way, if we have a few minutes before the end of the stream, I will shred on camera.
All right, so go ahead and add my screen back to the stage here for me.
Okay, you got it. Let's do that. All right.
All right, I'm showing.
You there, brother. You're there.
All right. So while Mark was doing his thing, I went and I changed the animation from a fade in. I asked Gemini Agent to just change it to like, do a fly in plus rotate. So here's my new animation where it flies in while rotating and rotates flying out. But all that is, it's a different keyframe animation here. So it's using transform. It still has the opacity, so it's still fading. But we got our rotate and our translate in there. And so, that's fun. But there's more capabilities here. And so in addition to this enter and leave with just CSS classes, we can also give functions here to do something more sophisticated. And so now we're going to get into the territory of me just kind of like trial and erroring some things because I'm not an expert in doing any animations. And so we're going to look at the documentation here to, let's see. So dollar event here. And so like here's an example of a leaving function in our docs. Let's move this over a little. But like you can see, you can also use animate.leave and enter as events instead of like properties like this and provide a function here. So let's go ahead and just like change our code here. I'm going to go ahead and like delete all my keyframe animations. I don't need those anymore. We're not going to use them. We're going to delete these and we're going to get rid of our animations that we had. And instead, we're going to make events here. And so let's call animate enter $events. And I spelled that wrong, animate enter. And then we're going to do similar for leave here. Thank you. And we're going to call that animate leave. And let's go ahead and introduce those into my class. The type on this, we can check the documentation, animation callback event. And that is coming from Angular core, actually. So WebStorm got that wrong. And then we'll do our leave as well.
All right, I'm queuing up. Okay, friends. As Jeremy's coding, I'm queuing up a bunch of questions and comments that we'll go through during the next like question break. So if we didn't answer right now, I promise you we're looking at this stuff like the selectors component thing. Like we'll get to that. We'll answer some questions. Okay, so I'm just queuing them up.
All right. So the only thing that I'm going to do right now is in this animation leave event. Actually, I don't want to call this $event. I just want to call this event. Change that real quick. I'm just calling event.animationComplete here in the leave. And so what this is doing is telling Angular that this animation has finished and that it should remove the div from the DOM. And so if I do this now, there's no animation and it just like immediately removes it from the DOM. And so that's what we want. And so now we want to add some JavaScript animation here. And so for that, I have installed the library anime.js, which I have never used before. But you can see from their website here, they have this like insanely cool animation that's all using their own library. And you can see like all of the different stuff that they could do here. And so I have no idea how to use this library at all. So I'm going to try to see how well Gemini Code Assist does that for me. So I'm going to describe my situation. So let's see, I want to check real quick too what the, what do I have? So I have event.target here. That's my DOM element. So I'm going to say here, add animations to my animate enter and animate leave functions that animate event.target with the anime.js library. Make the animation cool and zany and dynamic with lots of movement and sequenced
What does zany translate into according to Gemini? That's gonna be so fascinating. And I'm going far for the street right now.
Should call. What's happening? Animation is done. All right, let's see what happens.
All right, Jeremy, can you still hear me?
I can still hear you.
Okay, because I'm like totally jacking up my like setup here. I'm setting up like not MIDI controls, but like audio interfaces, an effects pedal, trying to get my microphone to go through all of that, and I'm going to switch over when it's time to demo some guitar playing, which I will have no idea what's going to happen.
Okay. So I'm just going to accept all these changes because the text is too big for me to read.
Well, that's a good question from Hallam. You all asked some really good animation questions. All right, I'm queuing up your questions here, friends. I promise you, we're queuing them up.
All right. So what? It doesn't like this import for some reason. Maybe
Okay.
it's like Sardas. Is that what it wants? No. I'll just tell. Let's see. Let's see. The import for anime is wrong. It has no default export. All of this, I could just go look at the docs for this library, but maybe I'll do that in parallel. I'll race Gemini. Well, it gave me a suggestion, which is the same thing I tried. But now it says... All right, so let's actually look at a real code example. So timeline here. So yeah, this is a little bit different than what this has been generating. So let's try. I'm going to try doing this. And then is that better? Maybe I should have just read the documentation. But I feel like we're getting closer.
Did it lead you to success?
We're getting closer, I think. I'm going to do this. It's like update the animation functions to use the correct symbols from anime.js from my imports. Maybe that will trick it into doing the right thing. And if that doesn't do it, I will buckle down and just look at the docs and debug the errors myself.
I like that energy.
Like I feel compelled to like at least give the agent a chance, because it feels like this is a this is a good use case for it. It's like, oh, I don't know this API. Yeah, so it still does this anime.timeline thing, and it changed my import again to something that doesn't seem to work. And so I am going to go ahead and just take these imports from the actual documentation here. And then we can say enter timeline equals create timeline. Whoops, that's the wrong place. Didn't mean to put that there. That will go in here. And so that's better. And then we'll just create timeline. So we can actually take any parameters. Yeah, this is just all wrong. I wonder if this would be better with GreenSock. But maybe Anime.js is too new for Gemini to be able to do. Okay, so we can say, I'm just going to read the docs here and animation.
Wait, you can hear that?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I thought one of the like noise, you know, I'm sitting here thinking I'm just like warming up with no sound, and I thought the noise cancellation, you know how, you know, these tools now offer, you know, like reduced background. Oh, I don't have reduced background noise on. That's why you can hear it. Because I'm like, you should not be able to hear this. That's so funny. Somebody said no music, please. Okay, Randolph. Listen. Wait. Wait. Oh, the reason I think it's so funny is because I was just laughing at myself, not laughing at your question or your comment. You said no music, please. That's totally fine. I can not play while Jeremy's coding. That's just funny though. Like, please don't play. Your music is so bad. Please do not play. That's what made me laugh. I just assumed that it was you saying that it was bad. That I shouldn't play. But I am going to play for those people who want to play after Jeremy's done with his coding example. But I'll mute myself for now.
Yeah. So I'm still down here. By the way, I can't see the chat while I'm coding. So if you're telling me all the dumb things I'm doing in the chat, I can't see you. But yeah, so this is mostly me trying to figure out how to use Anime.js right now. And so what I really want is just like a super easy so yeah, let's try. I'm just gonna like grab something out of one of their examples here and try to just like use it directly. So I'm just gonna grab this whole block here and see what happens when I do that. Format that. Okay, so this is creating an animation. Probably don't need to create it on every event, but it doesn't matter. And then there's a timeline here. So I can say timeline equals create timeline. And then that takes some parameters, and those parameters have what?
Okay, while you're doing that, let me go through some of the questions while you're debugging to see if I can provide some feedback to people who are are
I'm not
asking
even
questions.
I'm not even debugging. I'm just like figuring out how to use a library for the first time.
Yeah,
This
take
is
your time.
probably not is this compelling content, Mark?
It is compelling because people see, one, how to do it, two, how to do it with Angular, and then three, that you are a genius but still a regular human.
All right. Let's I don't know if this is gonna do anything. I just like created an animation. I'm gonna hit animation.play. No idea what this is gonna do. Let's try.
All right. Before you do that, let me answer this quick question. Oh, it did something. Look at
Oh,
that.
that's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, oh wait, but then in the RFC for animations, we added the ability to link in an actual animation function, right?
That's
So
what
is
this
that what
is.
you're doing?
That's what this is.
Yeah. Show it in the code again so people can see what you did, because
Yeah.
that was magic.
So WebStorm is showing this as red because this feature is not actually in stable yet, and so WebStorm doesn't know about it. So don't pay any attention to that. But so I'm setting up this animation.enter. I'm just giving it this. Notice that this is using the event syntax here, and I'm saying call animate enter. This takes an animation callback event. And here I'm just using a third-party animation library called anime.js. I'm creating an animation. I just copied and pasted this from their documentation, having no idea what it did. And then I hit animation.play. And so over here, I'll refresh again and I can hit show something. And it does this kind of wacky animation.
But here's the cool thing that I want to call out about that, because I think it's so subtle how cool it is, but I want to make sure people know how ice cold this is. First and foremost, there is nothing to do with like any zone programming or zoneless programming here, right? Like he has not do anything outside the zone, doesn't have to like worry about managing keyframes manually. The animation library, sorry, the animation directive updates that we've made allow you to plug in to these types of things. So you get to design up to your own like imagination, which is like magic. That's magic. I'm just gonna be honest with you. So yeah, I love that. I love that. So just think of what you can do. You know what I mean? Like think of all the things you can do. Let's go. Very exciting. All right. Somebody asked about selectorless components. That's a feature still in development. Like it's on a roadmap to work on, and you can't use it yet. So nothing to use there. But I know you've been waiting patiently for me to answer that question. So we answered it. Can you animate the difference between if and else? Oh, interesting. So I'm going to take a stab at this, and then Jeremy can confirm or deny my understanding of this. Whatever's in your if block when that condition is truthy, that is where the animations will happen. If you have another animation on something that's in the else block, whenever it satisfies that else block, that's the animation that's going to happen. So I don't know. So maybe you could think of like what would complementary animations look like in your design, and then just let the framework follow its own instructions. But Jeremy has to confirm that one, because I'm just that's my thought about it. But Jeremy can confirm.
Okay, I feel like I'm getting the hang of this now.
Okay, keep getting the hang. Let's see.
Actually, I guess I could just do 1, 0.
Ooh, interesting.
And then duration 1. 1 second. All right, so I just made up a leave animation, I think. And so let's try this out. So we show something, we get our zany enter animation, and then my leave animation, I think, should just shrink this down to nothing and then disappear over 1 second.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, that was way easier than I thought it was. Like Gemini code agent here, the code it generated made me think it was more complicated than it was, but all I'm doing is I create an animation, I set the properties that I want that animation to have, like scale, duration. I can even set an on complete callback here that calls our animation complete, that tells Angular it's done. You can remove the DOM element, and then I just play that animation, and that's pretty neat. I'm going to change the duration of this down to 1 second. It's too long now.
Okay, let's see, Jeremy. Let's answer. Let's do some more demos on this.
It's really satisfying.
Okay, answer this question since you're in the animations. Is there a possibility to handle animation.enter or .leave on dynamically created components, like a dialogue interleave animation?
So let's actually try it out. Let's go ahead and create a component here. So I'm going to call this the selector dynamic component, and I'm just going to give it a template. I'm just going to give it another div. That's class. What did I call it? I don't need my package.json anymore. Called this big box. That was my class name. So there's another dynamically created component that has big box. Export class dynamic component demonstration purposes. And I've got my styles here in app. I'm just going to cheat real quick to make it so that we're going to say we're going to turn off view encapsulation just so my styles are global, just for demo purposes. And so let's try adding a host block here and say, no, actually just animate.enter fade in, animate.leave, fade out. I shouldn't have deleted my classes from earlier. But so yeah, I don't actually have no idea if this will work. But if we put these on the host of a dynamic component, will that apply? And so let's bring back our fade in and out from earlier. I'm just going to Control Z until they're there again. They're there. So fade in, fade out, still there. Cool. And then let's say here we're going to say dynamic component is equal to, or this is type dynamic component or undefined. And then in our template here, we can just add, we'll do it here. And here was an ng component or ng container with ng component outlet. And that is going to be for, or actually, is it? I forget the exact. We don't need that. Let's have self-closing. We got our ng component outlet there. Kind of forget how to use this. Oh, right. If this is in the wrong place. No, this is in the right place. There's ng component outlet. Is this actually like that? Oh. Need to look up the documentation. It's been too long. ng component outlet. There we go. It is a star syntax. And so component type expression. Yeah, that should be right. What are you complaining about here? Ah, it's just a type error. Oh, because it expects null and not undefined. This is a an old kind of quirk of Angular is that for a lot of things it expects null instead of oh, I see. So this is actually not that I should have known. Yeah, just a little typing we need to do.
All right, hold on. Let's see. Somebody said add Bixbox class to host as well. Did you do that already? Did you need to do that?
No, I don't need to do that. It's in the There's one in the template.
Okay.
Okay, now where was I? This should be fine now, I think. Yep, that fixed the type error. And so I'm just going to add another button here. That's like show dynamic component. Yeah, and I'll add a click handler. Show dynamic. I can spell it right. And then I'll add that. And then this dot dynamic component. Okay, that's what I want. Cool. So now if I show dynamic component, we see it fades in. And I need to make it actually toggle. So let's rename this to toggle dynamic. And that is equal to, so if we have it, it sets it to null. If it doesn't, it sets to that. So we go back. Cool. And so now we hit show dynamic component, fades in, and now it fades out. And so not show.
Let's see it.
Toggle. You just saw it.
No, I wasn't looking. I was looking down.
Sounds like a you problem.
That is a problem.
But yeah, so this absolutely works. You can set the animate, enter, and leave on a host tag, host object inside of a component. And so whenever this component is created and inserted by Angular, that animation will play. And so we can see this is fading in and out.
Okay, that is such a clever thing to do, to add it to the host. That is awesome. Let's go. How clever, Jeremy.
All right, and I think that's pretty much everything to show off with the new animation stuff. And we learned about anime.js too.
Yeah.
It took a little bit of scrambling on stream to figure out how this API works, but it was simpler than I thought.
Okay, so now let's do some questions because people have been waiting. And then after questions, if anybody's still around for the stream, I'll play guitar for a few seconds. Thanks for the answer early. This is from Michael's earlier question, all about the animations package. Well, animations directive. We don't want to say animations package. It's something different. Let's be more precise. Man.
Yeah, they are not. So this actually is worth mentioning. The like animate.enter and animate.leave are not directives.
Oh,
they are built directly into the framework. So you don't import anything for them. They work a little bit differently than a directive would. So you can't like query for them with like view child. They're just built directly into the framework.
Wow. Good clarification there. Okay, that's one. Okay, good clarification there. All right. So with the new features that are built directly into the framework, let's call it that, was you real precise with our language here, would it still be able to include the animations import as it was in the last version, akin to how end of updates to FX Flex and it's just not updated? You understand this question?
Yeah. Like you would still be able to use, we're extrapolating like well into a year into the future, but you would still be able to continue using the old published version. We would just not be publishing new versions of it. And excuse me, you would be able to use that for some period of time. I think at the very least, like, don't hold me to this. I have to go, check our rules for this. It's in a document somewhere, but I think for as long as it's in LTS, you'd probably still be able to use it. But there may come a point where Angular gets to a certain version such that like using the like animations package from however many versions back would stop working. We don't intend on breaking it on purpose. It would only be if we are making some change to Angular's renderer in such a way that that it would be incompatible in some way with the old animation system.
Okay. Let's continue on to good questions here. Have you explored Bun with Angular? I did some research and I found the development server took more time in Bun to start than in Node.js. It was a little disappointing, Jeremy.
Yeah, I know. Jan One of our team members has played around with Bun a little bit, and he brings it up from time to time in conversations. So I think maybe there are some team members who have tried it kind of on their own, but we have not like done so in an official capacity as a something like, oh, this is a project we're prioritizing to like look at Angular with Bun. Not something that's just kind of super high on our priority list to look into.
Okay, let's get to the next question. All right, another one follow up here. I love multiple cases for the same block in at switch.
Is that not a thing? I don't remember the switch syntax off the top of my head. I'm gonna go look.
Yeah, you go have a look at that. We can come back to that. Let's see. Oh, wait, so a lot of questions. Let's see. Matthew. Oh, what's up, Matthew? Matthew says nope, not an option. Not an option.
I'll believe Matthew on that.
Yeah, Matthew's kind. What's up, Matthew? Bonjour, Matthew. Let's see. Let's keep going. Let's rapid fire a couple more questions because we're getting close to our time to be done with our stream today. Jeremy, I know it's tough to be unbiased, but if you had to start learning programming all over again, what path would you take from the basics up to a framework, especially for full stack? Great question.
I mean, that's a hard question, right? Because everybody has their own unique journey to learning, and like I originally started learning coding in like freshman year of high school, doing like Visual Basic in like a high school class. And then I moved on to Pascal of all things, because my high school calculus teacher had a fondness for Pascal. And so I learned something that was even outdated at the time. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, right? Like, do you tell someone to start off with something like Python? Do you tell like that's like this higher level kind of easy to use thing? I know when I went to university, like the introductory programming course was in C, and they kind of used it as a weed out course to be like, well, if you can't handle C, like maybe it's they want people to bounce after that. But I mean, I don't know if I have a good answer to this. Like, I think like maybe I'll like frame it differently in my head. If I was going to teach somebody programming for the first time, who've never programmed before, what would I start them with? And again, that's biased because I would probably start them with like JavaScript just because it's what I use the most. And it's easy to run in a web browser. You don't need to set up an environment. You just like write your code and you run it. That's really simple. But there's, you get into some of the more like fundamentals of like, hey, like at what point in your programming career do you need to learn about like pointers?
Yeah. And if I had to answer this for somebody, I would say I would probably start with web tech right now, only because the satisfaction loop is there. So when you start a new hobby or anything, you really do care about that satisfaction like loop of like, man, I did something, I want to be able to see it, I want to have some motivation to keep going, which is why like if I teach guitar, I'll teach something like a simplified version of Blackbird by the Beatles first. And the reason why is because the satisfaction is so high to playing that song that it keeps you coming back for more. So if I were to teach it, it's because of that. Like on the website, you can, as soon as you can get it deployed or published from like double clicking the HTML file, you just get so much value, right? And so that's why I would probably teach web first if I were to answer this, to be honest with you. Yeah. Okay, let's see. We got a couple more. Let's rapid fire. Routing animation with custom transitions using transition API. We have this. Halim.
Yep.
More videos about SSR and hydration. We do not have that.
I think I think Ben just sent a PR. There's a PR open. I don't know if it's been merged yet, for a new guide for doing router animations with view transitions.
Yeah.
So it's like literally just like either just landed or on the cusp of landing.
Yeah, totally. Okay, let's see. We got just a few more left. Let's see. What is the long-term vision for SSR and Angular, especially after the introduction of something that's groundbreaking as incremental hydration, emphasis mine, and route level rendering modes in V19 and V20?
Just to make it easier and faster, right? So that, if I'm being super reductive about our roadmap for SSR, it really boils down to those two things, like make it easier to use and make it faster. And so on the like easier to use front, right now, like you can use any web server you want with Angular SSR, and like by default, it just generates you an Express server because that's like the easiest thing to do. And you can swap it into something else if you want. Like you could use H3 or any other kind of node-based web server. We are looking at changing that default at least, and looking at other solutions in the ecosystem, like what other web server we might want to use, and then kind of looking at more like, hey, like by default, do we want to generate a particular web server stack for you with a particular server framework so we can do kind of tighter integrations and give you a better experience so that it's easier to just throw API endpoints in there or whatever else you might want to do. Just like generally make the process easier to like both get started with and give you more pieces of that like server-side rendering and data story so you can like put it all together more easily. And then on the like performance front, like actually just making the like SSR faster. And so one of the things we know is like we do currently DOM emulation for Angular SSR. So we use a forked version of a library called Domino, where creates like an emulation of the DOM APIs, and Angular is like rendering to the DOM during SSR in the same way that it would on the browser, and then it's just serializing that DOM to HTML and sending it down. And we think there's some performance to be gained if we get rid of that kind of emulation layer and we're able to kind of output directly to HTML as we go. Longer term, we'd like to get to a point where we can even do streaming HTML, although that's a little tricky with some of the architectural decisions in Angular, because you don't have a good way of knowing at any given point when it's okay to like start sending those bytes back over the response.
Okay. Jeremy, can you tell us more about the Angular MCP server?
Yes, it is there. This was something that I think we kind of like very quietly made public without announcing it, because it's extremely experimental. It is very limited in functionality right now. It's just has endpoints for giving you some like Angular best practices that can be used in prompts. There's an endpoint for like pulling documentation references from our like Algolia index from angular.dev, but we are actively working on adding more features to it. And we will have more to share in the not too distant future. We have some interesting things cooking up for what's inside of that MCP server.
Yeah. Okay. Then last question I think we'll take today before we do our sign off and a little shredding. Shredding is an overestimation. I'm just gonna noodle around a little bit. I don't know how to.
I've seen your practice videos, Mark. Don't be humble.
I don't know how to shred. I know how to play a little bit. Can I use Angular with Dino?
Probably. I have no idea.
No idea.
I don't know that anyone's tried it on our team, at least.
But try it and let us know. And the last thing about trying things and letting us know, this is actually a really good segue. Mark, in the last Q&A, I asked about when we will choose the next test run. Are there any updates, Jeremy? There aren't any updates that we can give right now, right? Like I don't think we have any details about what the new test runner is, right?
Yeah, but I don't think we have anything official to share.
Yeah, nothing yet, but
just know that we're working on it. This is not that we've forgotten. This is something that is kind of like an active thing someone is working on.
Somebody's working on it, and share your experience with us. Like if it's working for you, something's not working, like the one you're trying, the one you prefer, like all that feedback, open an issue on GitHub. You know what I mean? Like do something, let us know, give us that feedback so that it can, because we're going to take community feedback into consideration, but it won't like make the decision for us, but we'll at least be like considering what you folks are thinking, because you are the community who has to use all this stuff. So let us know. We love it. We love it. We love it. All right. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to make this guitar sound on camera. I'm going to switch over, Jeremy.
All right. Let's see what you got.
This is chaos. I don't know if this is even going to work.
All right. I see your lips moving, but I don't hear you talking anymore. Oh. Oh, I don't. I mean, I don't know if you mean to be heard. Nope. Compelling content. Still no. Yeah, Mark just MacGyvered an audio setup here on the fly midstream.
Okay, I made up this audio setup and nothing is working because I don't know what I'm missing. Let's see, do I have everything plugged? I have everything plugged in. Is there any last minute? I could try one last ditch effort. This
I mean,
audio. Go ahead.
you could just bring an amp and blast it into the microphone.
I could do that, but that'll take some effort. Are you going to entertain people while I get in the amp? That's the real question.
No, I got things to do. I actually do have to keep going.
That's what I'm saying. We have work to do, so I can't. Okay, just tell me if I'm gonna try one thing. Tell me if you can hear any of my playing through this thing. If you can't hear it, then we'll just have to sacrifice. Okay.
No, I don't hear a thing. I hear just kind of a low electric background hum. All right, I think you'll have to figure out the setup for next time, Mark. Still nothing, just kind of a low hum.
Back to my regular microphone. Yeah, like I was trying to get it to, so like you can hear that, but that's not like.
No, just the strings, but none of the like actual audio output from the guitar.
So you can hear the string playing, but you can't hear it live. Okay, friends, listen, this is what I'm going to do. I want to pretend like I'm going to fix this, which I'm not, but I'm going to pretend like I'm going to fix it because it just didn't work the way I wanted it to. Jeremy and we do have a lot of work to do. So we're going to we're going to end the stream right now and we'll end with our normal 3 questions and then we'll get out of here, friends. Oh, wait, if you liked this stream, before I forget anything else, if you liked this stream, we'll be back next week with another stream. We're giving you more of what you want. We'll be back next week with our next stream featuring Alex Rickaby, one of our other leads on Angular Framework Lead. It's going to be really fantastic. He's going to be here. I may or may not be here. We might be Devin, but Alex is definitely going to be here next week for a Q&A with you folks. What are you playing? What are you watching? What are you reading, Jeremy?
Trying to read the most recent Murderbot book. Because I didn't read it when it came out and went to other things. What am I watching? I don't know that I'm watching anything new or exciting. Just Dropout, Taskmaster, and what am I playing? Oh, my partner and I started playing Divinity Original Sin 2 after having not played it for many years. Going back into the, after playing Baldur's Gate, seeing what other RPGs we could couch co-op, and that's fun.
And what are you watching?
Just Dropout stuff, Taskmaster.
Nothing, you said that. Sorry, I missed. I heard you, and I don't think I figured it out. Okay, I'll tell you what I'm reading, watching, playing. I am playing for the first time my own type of game, Expedition 33. I am reading. I'm about to start the latest. I think it's one of the penultimate or the last Murderbot book. I want to get through. I love it. And then what am I watching? It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I'm just trying to catch up because I want to catch up to the crossover with Abbott Elementary, which is another show that I love. So I'm watching Always Sunny. Oh, and I'm also playing lots of guitar. If you want to watch me play guitar and want to hear how it sounds, you can check me out on Blue Sky, marktexan.com on Blue Sky. You can check out my YouTube channel, which I'm not going to tell you because I don't know what the rules are about promoting my own YouTube channel on this. So I'm not going to tell you. But if you look you could try hard enough, you could find it. But on Blue Sky, I post videos of me playing every day, 8 more live videos, and then we're done. Jeremy and I have a ton of work to do, so we're going to get going. Thank you all for being a part of this amazing community. Great things are to come, and no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're building, just make sure you're having a good time and you're getting out there and you're building great apps. We'll see you the next time.